since we're speaking about leadership and lessons in leadership, empathy. And I want to understand from you the correlation between empathy and success, especially in the corporate world, because at the heart of every business is a leader who's a human being. So these emotions and these virtues come into play. Number one, is empathy a lost virtue? Number two, how imperative is it, Swamiji, for a leader to really practice that on a daily basis?
Okay, let me ask all of you some questions, right? How many of you at the moment are going through some personal struggle? You may have to, you could raise your hand, you don't have to raise your hand, it's all right. How many of you experience stress at work? Because when you're a leader, there's more stress than people whom you're leading because you have to deliver. Right? How many of you have ever experienced politics at workplace? Oh, thank you. Some of you are saying, Swamiji, हाथ कैसे उठाएंगे? Politics करने वाला बगल में ही बैठा है. How many of you in your family have somebody struggling with some health issues? Thank you. How many of you here have some issues in dealing with your teenage kids and seeing how to really inspire them to really take that further step and not just be a victim of smartphone addiction? Thank you. Now, as much as all of you as leaders have these issues, that's how much the people whom you lead have these issues as well. If you go through stress, they go through stress. If you go through workplace politics because of whoever's doing it to you, they go through workplace politics at their own level. If you go through the struggles and the anxieties of what's happening at home because of a terminally ill relative, they are going through the same thing as well. If you're going through the challenges of raising children and raising them with the right value systems, they are going through that as well. And it's quite amazing to see that for us, our problems are extremely crucial and important. Could a leader turn a blind eye on the problems that the people whom he leads or she leads has, while they themselves are going through those problems? And which is precisely why I feel empathy is so crucial, because we are not leading humanoids. We are not leading machines. We're not leading robots. We're not leading stones. We're not leading dead matters. We are leading sentient, emotive human beings who have feelings, who feel bad, who feel good, who feel appreciated, valued, who feel completely demotivated, who feel motivated one day and demotivated another day, who are in a great mood one day because things have gone well and in a terrible mood the other day, just as much as we are. And that's precisely why I feel empathy is so crucial. Compassion is so crucial, not just as a human virtue, not just as a human virtue, but even as organizational performance to be boosted. Because when people are treated well, when people are valued, when people are dealt with empathy and compassion, they walk the extra mile by doing more than what is expected of them. They walk the extra mile by doing what is more than what is expected of them. In the year 2007, when the economic global recession happened because of the Lehman Brothers crash, there was a company in the Midwest of America, Barry Wehmiller Limited. Overnight, they lost 30% of their standing orders. That meant a loss of $10 million to them. The then CEO, and since it's a CEO gathering here, the then CEO, Bob Chapman, called for a board meeting and asked all the board members, what do we do to recover this loss of 10 million? The obvious answer, layoffs. Layoffs. Bob Chapman spoke to the board and asked them, what if, okay, I'll ask you, what if you're having a financial crisis, would you lay off your wife? Some men are saying maybe. Oh, okay. Oh, would you lay off your husband? Okay, let me take this controversial side aside. Okay, I'm doing financially not so well. Will I lay off my parents saying, sorry, dad, sorry, mom, you're having a problem. You see your way you manage because I don't have enough money. Will we lay off our children? No, we won't. Why? Because we consider them family. Empathy comes in when there is a sense of belonging and we say, this is my family. Bob Chapman said, well, we're not going to lay anybody off. He called for a meeting of everybody in the organization, came to the podium and said to his people, the first thing I want to assure you is that we are not sacking anybody out. And he made a statement. He said, wouldn't it be better for all of us collectively to suffer a little bit than some of us to suffer a lot more because of having been taken out of the organization? That's what gave rise to the furlough program. That we will all go on a 8 weeks of unpaid holiday. And if we all go on an 8 weeks of unpaid holiday, we will recover our $10 million. Empathy, compassion, that we don't want you to go through pain. You are the ones who made us successful. You are the ones who brought us up. I had the strategy, I had the vision, I had the blueprint, but you were sweating it out. You were toiling it out to execute the vision that I provided. So your family. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This empathy, this sensitivity, this human compassion immediately boosted the morale up. And trust me, hand on my heart, in the modern era, what we need more than strategy is a morale. Where people don't cut corners. Where people feel a sense of belonging and a sense of commitment and dedication to the organization and the vision of the organization. Because when we have all the strategies in place, but we don't have that morale of the people in place, this cutting corners. The morale went up. People in high-ranking positions started talking to people in lower-ranking positions saying, hey, look, I know you can't afford a 8 weeks holiday because you have a financial crunch at home. I'll take your 4 weeks and go on a 12 weeks so you could go only on a 4 weeks holiday. Relationships deepened, bondings deepened. 2007-8, when the whole world was in a soup, Barry Waymiller did not just recover their $10 million of losses. Barry Waymiller made a $10 million profit that year. At a time when everybody was going through trouble. Why? Because people were willing to give their blood, sweat and tears to somebody who cared. Which is why someone beautifully said, I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. And therefore, it's not about leaders who just know. It's leaders who care. People are fed up of leaders who just know. We want leaders who don't just know, but who care. And when leaders care out of sensitivity, compassion, and empathy, it's not just a human virtue. It's an incredible boost to organizational performance and productivity.